We're going to talk about wind turbines next, and I'm sure everybody has seen one of these boxes, the Whirlybird. That's our name, the Whirlybird, the Lomanco Whirlybird. It's been in Canada since probably about 1980, and it's amazing. In all those years we've been sending the wind turbine up there, we hardly ever get anything back that's a failure. The only thing that we might get back is a brand X in the box where somebody tries to pull a fast one, or we'll get one back that was installed incorrectly. But as far as failure of the product itself, you'll never see it. From a standpoint of how much extraction of air it does, it is probably one of the most effective ways of ventilating an attic that there is. Again, just for a fact, Canada is the biggest wind turbine market that Lomanco has in the world. And the reason that is because wind turbines forgive you if you don't have enough intake, where most of the other vents that we manufacture or any of the other guys manufacture, if they don't have enough intake, there's a chance that you're going to have them feeding from themselves and you're going to get some kind of air infiltration. Whirlybirds move a lot of air. In fact, two wind turbines, 12-inch turbines at the wind roughly 10 miles an hour will move as much air as a power ventilator. And the warranty is the best warranty you can get in the industry. In most cases, the wind turbine, the Whirlybird, has a better warranty than the shingles you're putting on the roof. It's a lifetime transferable warranty, no questions asked. It's good forever, whether you own the house or somebody else does. Good warranty, good product. Now, the thing that sets the Whirlybird off, if you looked at a cutaway of a Whirlybird, what you're going to see is that we've got all metal pieces in there. We have permanently sealed bearings at the top bearing and the lower bearing, and all of this bracing that we have enables it to withstand wind speeds up to 140 miles an hour. In fact, in some parts of the United States, we have to pass hurricane tests where we can't sell that turbine in that market unless it can pass that 140 mile an hour test without failing, blowing up, or leaking any water whatsoever. If it does, then you can't sell it in those counties. And that's roughly in Florida and the Louisiana and the Carolinas and Texas, South Texas. But what that does, the testing that we have to put into this thing to keep it from failing makes it good anywhere that we sell the product. I mentioned that Canada was one of our biggest markets. Alaska's number 2. Some of the most severest weather in the world, and it's one of the preferred products. Now, the bracing, what happens with a wind turbine as the wind starts speeding up, physical effects on a wind turbine happens in 2 ways. One is that it's going to try to expand this way, and it's going to try to go airborne. So you're trying to hold all of this together with the bracing and the bearings. And by the way, these bearings are proprietary. Nobody else can buy these bearings. They're made in the United States. They are proprietary. They're permanently sealed forever. Anybody else that says they have a bearing, they're coming from offshore, or they don't even have a bearing whatsoever. Now, what we do, and your store can have these also from Cancel. They can certainly get these to you. But what we've done is taken the shaft and bearing assembly out of my product and also out of some brand X's. As you can see on a cutaway of the Lomanco bearing and shaft, it's all aluminum. You can see by the cutaway that it's permanently sealed, and then we put dust shields around each bearing. This one has been removed for this display only. And it's all aluminum, so it's never going to corrode. It's permanently sealed. It's good forever. Now, some of the other ones that you see in some of the big box stores and other places, and they look like they have bearings, but most of the time they're just bushings. And you can see, you can hear them as they rattle. This one, even though it looks like it's got a bearing in it, it doesn't have any balls whatsoever. This one is another brand X, and you can find this in some of the bigger boxes too. And again, it's a bushing, no bearings whatsoever. And what happens, once the cold rolled steel gets into the atmosphere, whether it's raining or not, that cold rolled steel is going to rust, and that's what causes the squeaking. Ours is guaranteed never to squeak. Now, you know, a lot of people, when they look at turbines, they say they spin, but do they do anything? Well, what I want to show you in this little demo behind me, this is the Lomanco smokehouse, is I'm going to fill it up with smoke, hit it with roughly 8 miles an hour of wind. And at 8 miles an hour, what you're going to see, the turbine is actually manufactured to start spinning at 2 miles an hour. The faster it turns, the more air it extracts. And it's also got a unique capability where it can go from a 0 pitch to a 12-12 pitch. And that's very important, and that is enabled by the stack height of this collar. The higher that collar is, the more pitch you can get to it. So I'm going to stick this on the roof. And by the way, you know, we get asked the questions a lot of time, well, what if the wind's not blowing? How much air will it extract? Well, it roughly has 100 square inches of net-free area. That would be like 2 50-inch roof louvers. But once it starts spinning at all, the air that it extracts goes from net-free area into cubic feet per minute that it's extracting out of that attic, and it goes up on an exponential fast, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is add smoke to this guy without any wind right now. And really, I have intake vents over here where you can see the soffit vents. And what you should see, if that guy's spinning or not spinning, you're going to see the air coming through it, and it's being pulled out through the intake. I don't know if you can see it in that visual, but it's clearing out right over this intake right now. Now, as I hit it with wind, watch what happens at the intake and inside of this thing immediately. You can see it's really chugging the air through these intake vents on both sides, and it doesn't take very long at all until this whole attic space is cleared out. Now, a turbine, like any other product, like ridge vent or roof louvers, requires intake, and you should balance the number of turbines that you have with the intake. We have some little slide rules that we have for you that you can actually size a house on how many you need and how many intake vents you need. We have this on these little charts, calculators, plus we have them on the back of our catalogs also. And it tells you how much intake you need also. Now, we make a 12-inch turbine, and we also make a 14-inch turbine. And if you looked at that chart closer, you can see once it gets up to about a 3,000 square foot home, attic floor space, between 2,500 and 3,000 square feet. Instead of using 3 12-inch turbines, you'd only need 2 14-inch turbines, and it goes like that as you get a bigger house. You just use less of them, so you won't have to cut as many holes. But again, with the wind blowing, this guy moves a lot of air. One of the reasons we sell so many in Canada is that it's virtually weatherproof, no matter whether you have intake or not. Of course, we say that you need intake for any kind of an exhaust vent. But this thing, when it's spinning, is like a wall. There's nothing going to get into it. Even if it wasn't spinning, if I held it up and you tried to see through it, I mean, it's virtually, you can't see through it because the blades are so close together. A lot of the brand X's have given turbines a bad image in the world, and it's usually because of the design of the shaft and the bearing assembly, or people will try to knock off one of our turbines. This is a brand X, and instead of using the aluminum extruded bracing, they'll come in with plastic. And you wouldn't believe how many we get back in our boxes in a year where the top is blown out, where the bearing has failed, or this plastic piece breaks. If you attach plastic to something affixed and you go through a winter like in Canada and it's trying to expand and contract and expand and contract, plastic is going to crack. It just will. So you get what you pay for with turbines.